Question to you real quick is the port strike. Long story short, did you see the automation on the ports?
Oh yeah, I did.
So I'm thinking, yeah. So if we do China's super, so I'm like, if we get cyber attack, we ain't gonna never get no toilet paper. So they just talked about it. So you can strike and you can shut down the ports. So you can't get anything delivered. Right? From a cyber, and that's kind of more of an IC problem.
And to back up, like to get you guys in on what we're talking about. So there was one of these shipping ports. What they did was they automated something like 80% of all of the functions on the port, which means they have automated cars going using algorithms and AI to deliver things. And the pros are that less people are getting hurt. It's faster. They can speed up the process without people getting hurt. The cons, of course, are jobs. Like you're eliminating 80% of the workforce. Yeah. And then another con is this, like what John just said, is that if your shit gets hacked, you're done. You are done. If your shit gets hacked, you are done.
That nation's done, right? That's the national critical infrastructure now, right? That's like water, right? You can't go ahead. I just want to throw that in. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. It brings to mind something that happened like locally. We had, I don't know if they have, this is throughout the US, but in Colorado, they start automating the Walmarts, where the Walmart, you can just walk in and there might be one cashier, right? If something, for whatever reason you want to go use that one cashier, you can go and put your stuff through there. But for the most part, all of the lanes were all automated. You can just go in, check all your stuff through. But what happened was this. There were too many people stealing from Walmart and bypass. People are smart. They were bypassing somehow the automated systems, and Walmart lost millions and millions of dollars, which made them say, okay, we need to go back to the regular model because we're losing too much money. Yeah. So now when I go in there, it's about 50-50 now. So there are the automated places where you can go through and check all your stuff, but there's also the actual cashiers, and a lot of people prefer the cashiers. So I'm thinking the same thing with, maybe it's oversimplification, but maybe it's the same thing with the automated shipping yards. You don't want, isn't that super risky to have all your stuff automated?
No, but for what they did though is there's 3 big ports. They the only one could take the big ships. So I think they figured out from a company standpoint is you can't steal a container. So they're trying to cut, especially those guys got a 70% raise. So they're like, hey, you making 150, we just gonna automate it from a business perspective. So I think from their state, because we gotta remember is technology, there's an ROI, right? Return on investment. So once you get to 2, they got guys making 300,000. So if you make 300, I'm sending the robots on you, right? So so yeah, that was some of the. And the other thing that came out of that you will like is AWS is building their own containers. They bought their own ships because some of their stuff is high dollar. It's smaller ships, so it costs more. But I said, because they got infinite money, they're gonna build their own port because they like to automation improve it. So I think we're gonna be going through at the warehouse. They let their competitors use their warehouse. I think they're gonna buy a port and let people use that port and charge them. But go ahead, chime in on that one. That's just a bit off. So I was thinking about that. Go ahead.
I think that's what's going to happen. Is that I don't think companies can resist, like your Apple and your Amazon and your Walmart. They're going to try it, but I'm just thinking, as a cybersecurity guy, like I personally wouldn't want that much risk to just throw all I would do like a 50-50 type thing, but I don't know. They're going to do their own thing. John says, great content. I'm an engineered technician with a secret clearance, more of a electronics troubleshooting background. Do you see this type of career transferring into a GRC career? I don't know that it's going to transfer. You're always going to need electrical engineering technicians. I think that GRC is another layer. It's its own thing. So I don't know that your whole field will transfer into it, but it's something that you probably want to look into if you're looking for. It pays, man. GRC stuff pays. If you're learning these frameworks, if you're learning these the regulations and stuff like that, there's an upper level that pays, and you can pivot from one to another. Like you can pivot into management if you want to go that route. You can become more technical if you like. You can become super deep into just cybersecurity technical work. I'm trying to sell it, but it's its own thing is what I'm saying. Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, John?
No, I agree with that, because if you look at NIST, a lot of times what's going to be in there, supply chain, where you're getting your electronics from, You can't
Right.
get them from China, right? Prohibitive
Exactly.
telecom will come. So, like you said, that layer comes in, and two, if you're selling their electronics to the government, you still gotta have policies and procedures, how you doing stuff. So I know, I think you it. But just back up what you said is, I think with the ports, you're gonna have a DR plan where you can roll over to another
That's
port.
recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you stop the virus from going to one to the
Right.
other? So I think that's the part of that from a compliance perspective with the ports. I don't think they got a DR port. So if we don't get no toilet paper, there's nowhere else to send it. So we got to figure out what's the disaster recovery, right? If somebody hacks it, or
Yeah.
we got something that's maybe, like you said, a little more manual and that less automated, so we can get our medicines in and our fruit in. But I think that would actually fall under the Department of Homeland Security. Because when I was at the state, we would do a DR test with Department of Homeland Security for nation state agency. Long story short, if every department of taxes in the state got hacked, they believe China would be trying to shut down the funding of the United States. So the Department of Homeland came in and did our DRs to make sure we would let them know, and how would you handle if the whole nation state would happen. So you would think they would do that with the ports.
Yeah.
Shout out to Larry. Go ahead on that.